You're watching Local News 8 at 10. Local people, local news.
Tonight, the verdict is in. Jefferson County Sheriff Blair Olson is guilty of misusing public money.
Local News 8's Chelsea Brentzel live outside the Twin Falls County Courthouse. Chelsea, how long did it take for the jury to reach that decision?
Well, Jay Carroll, it took the jury almost 3 hours to find Sheriff Blair Olson guilty on 3 counts of misusing public money. That money was used to buy and pay for a cell phone for his wife. The defense claimed Olson gave the emergency phone to his wife as an emergency way to contact him. The prosecution claimed it was for her personal use. The jury sided with the prosecution. Prosecutors say they are pleased with the outcome.
But it's a case that we felt strongly about. And I know the Attorney General feels strongly about pursuing matters involving misuse of public funds. And so we're pleased with the result, and we thank the jury. I mean, I think it was a really hard, you know, at times complex and tedious case, and they did a really excellent job of kind of staying on track and paying good attention, and it just did a really nice job.
While the prosecution is pleased, witnesses from the defense say they are now being harassed by some of those who wanted to see the sheriff convicted. One of the witnesses told me that Jeff Poole texted her saying, quote, "I hope you're happy with what you done today. Sorry you fell to that level." Because Olson was found guilty, he is no longer allowed to carry a firearm. Back in February, some of the administrators from Jefferson County denied a request to ask Olson to take administrative leave. Now, they may not have a choice. Live at the Twin Falls County Courthouse, I'm Chelsea Brentzel.
All right, thank you, Chelsea. The sheriff will be sentenced on June 22nd at 2 p.m. in Jefferson County.
Michael Coates joining us now with a look at our forecast. Michael, any changes in store?
Yeah, we're going to see some big changes coming in here for the weekend. Colder, windy, wet weather heading in for your Friday and Saturday. Could put a big damper if you have outdoor plans for the weekend. But ahead of that wet weather, we're still sitting with mild temperatures. Taking a live look here through the Pocatello Farm Bureau cam. We're at 62 degrees, not looking for much wind right now. I have seen a few light hits of rain in Pocatello and Blackfoot and Fort Hall in the last hour, but nothing too substantial. In fact, as we go to First Alert Viper radar, what I'm detecting is just some lingering leftover hints of rain and thunderstorm activity from earlier this evening. There's a little bit of some light rain right now pushing through Fremont County, northeast of Ashton, getting into Island Park there. Also been tracking some light moisture in around Pocatello, Fort Hall, Blackfoot. And a lot of that showing up on radar is just what's in the cloud deck. It's not actually hitting the ground right now. It's just some leftover moisture in the lower levels of the atmosphere that the radar is picking up on. We're at 56 right now for Soda Springs. We're at 63 in Blackwood. We're at 60 in Idaho Falls. Wind speeds throughout the Snake River Plain backing off to lighter levels. Now we're going to see more wind in the forecast here as we push forward towards the weekend. And again, I'll explain why we can expect to see those changes in your forecast coming up with the latest Vipercast. I'll send it back over to Jay and Carroll.
Thank you, Michael. We have new information tonight about the 2 local men who were stranded atop a mountain in Alaska Monday night and had to be rescued. Turns out they were professionals and even worked as ski instructors in the Pocatello area. But tonight, their friends tell us things just went so wrong Monday that it was beyond their control. Local News 8's Luke Jones is live in the Pocatello newsroom. So what do you know, Luke?
Well, it turns out this all started when they were skiing down Mount Dickey in preparation for climbing Mount McKinley. Somewhere on the way down, they triggered an avalanche, got trapped, and literally had to summon for help by stomping SOS in the ground.
Take a look at these icy slopes where 2 Idaho men found themselves trapped Monday night. Saxon Spillman of Pocatello and Michael Watts of Idaho Falls both had to be rescued after a cold wait atop this 7,500-foot peak in Denali National Park.
I wasn't necessarily surprised. He's a pretty adventurous guy.
Friends of the men concerned but not surprised. They say they're no strangers to snow and steep terrain.
They both have certifications in rock climbing and avalanche awareness.
Peter Joyce knows both men and actually spoke to one this morning. He says both trained here at ISU's rock climbing wall.
I've been in the backcountry skiing with them. They've been to our yurts before, skiing in the backcountry of Pebble Creek and whatnot, so they knew the dangers.
Apparently both men once worked as instructors at Pebble Creek. Tonight we're told they're safe, and Joyce says he's glad.
I'm quite elated that I don't have to go to a funeral or memorial service, and neither do they.
Now, just from speaking to one of those men, Joyce says it sounds like they did everything right. They checked the forecast, even did a stability test, but he says those aren't always reliable. Live at the Pocatello newsroom, I'm Luke Jones.
All right, thank you, Luke. And no word on when the men plan to return to Pocatello.
The Laramie, Wyoming City Council has approved a local anti-discrimination ordinance. Now, you remember, this is the college town where Matthew Shepard's death triggered nationwide sympathy and really brought a re-examination of attitudes towards gays 17 years ago. Well, the City Council voted 7-2 tonight in favor of the measure that would prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity in housing, employment, and access to public facilities such as restaurants. Local organizers focused their efforts on Laramie after the legislature in Wyoming repeatedly rejected anti-discrimination bills. Shepard was a gay university student. He was murdered in Laramie in 1998, and his death really became the rallying point in the gay rights movement.
Farmers' crops are under attack tonight. Little critters called voles are feasting on them. Now, voles are not uncommon to the area, but there are more of them this year due to the warm, mild winter we had. Wheat and barley crops in the area have been the hardest hit since the voles eat plants underground as well as above the ground. They're killing the crops. Trees and lawns can also be susceptible to these little creatures if you have your voles in the backyard.
The voles will leave a lot of little small runs across the surface of the grass and little kind of grass-type tunnels, and then they will also have an open hole that the vole can go in and out of.
Now, there are a number of rodenticides you can use to get rid of these rodents. Predators like hawks, coyotes, even a dog can help control the vole population.
Several states around Idaho have legalized some form of marijuana use. Today, community leaders in Madison County held a public forum to talk about the consequences of legalizing marijuana. The county brought in Darren Burrell, who works for the Clark and Fremont County Juvenile Probation Departments. He says despite all the talk of the benefits for the legalization of pot, there are still consequences from its use.
Rates of addiction are going up. Kids that are specifically being treated for marijuana abuse and addiction going up. In the adult population, it's the same thing, and that's frankly related to availability.
Burrell also talked about recent studies about especially the IQ of someone who uses pot regularly. It drops by 8 points. Another statistic that came out of today's forum, 1 in 6 people under the age of 18 who use pot for recreational purposes are likely to become dependent upon it.
Today, kids from around Bingham County gathered at the Eastern Idaho State Fairgrounds to celebrate graduating from the DARE program. Local News 8's Natalie was there to talk to several graduates about DARE and what they learned.
Just don't ever do drugs, smoking, alcohol. It's just super bad for you. How to resist peer pressure.
That's what most people think of when you hear about DARE. And that's right, but it's more than just that.
It's just another resource to help them understand, you know, good things can happen when I do things right, or bad things can happen if I'm going to do something wrong.
About the choices you make and how you treat other kids, or how you treat your parents and things like that.
So I asked the kids what to do when you have to make a tough choice.
No, that's not my thing. That's not my thing. I'll get grounded. No, thank you.
I don't need to do that, and if you guys want to keep going like that, you guys can keep doing that, but I don't want to do that. And yeah.
Like, I want to stay healthy. I know they're bad for you.
Just say no, that you've already made the decision that you're not going to do drugs. You know they're bad for your body, and just you're not even going to try.
You don't want to get lung cancer or cancer, and you just don't want to, if you drink, you don't want to get in a car accident and hurt somebody else, like so many stories.
A lot about not doing drugs, because that's basically really bad for your body. So you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't smoke, because it can give you lung cancer. And if anyone asks you, hey, you want to smoke with me or something, you should always say no, because that's bad for your body. Just going to stay out there. The viewers, remember, you cannot do drugs. Don't do drugs. You will not have a good life. Trust me, you will not have a good life.
Our thanks to Natalie Shaver, our reporter, for bringing that to us. This was the 20th DARE Day. It's unique to Bingham County. Law enforcement says it's their way to give back to the kids.
Tonight, the Pocatello-Chubbuck Chamber of Commerce hosted the 15th Annual Law Enforcement Appreciation Banquet at Idaho State University. Now, at this event, officers and their families are treated to dinner and dessert, while local businesses are given an opportunity to show their appreciation to law enforcement. Each of the law enforcement agencies takes the opportunity to recognize their officers, too, for great acts they've performed in our community. To find out how you can sponsor this event next year, you could get a hold of the Pocatello-Chubbuck Chamber of Commerce for information.
If you're looking to get a cup of joe, you have a new option in Idaho Falls. Today, the Cool Beans Cafe in Snake River Landing held its ribbon cutting. The cafe will offer specialized coffees and smoothies, a full food menu with sandwiches, salads, and artisan paninis, plus beer and wine. Cafe owner Shane Murphy says the vibe of the coffee shop will be different from other shops in Idaho Falls.
We were making some decisions on some of the decor and some of the design, and I wanted to bring in a kind of a modern industrial feel that it really isn't in this area, with some unique art and stuff, and so we did that, and it came together, and I'm excited for it.
Cool Beans Cafe is located at 901 Pierview Drive, Suite 103. They're open 7 days a week.
I drove through there just the other day. I cannot believe the development of the Snake River Landing.
isn't that
all
something?
the homes that are going up, all the businesses. So yeah, I saw Cool Beans there. So.
Yeah, and that park and the pathway along the river.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, you may get out of mowing the yard this weekend.
Yeah, sounds like some rain is on the way. Mike Coates in next with the forecast. These are your highs and lows for today. We'll be right back.
Carol Honus, Jay Hildebrand, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Michael Coates, and Jeff Landers with Sports Live. You're watching Local News 8 at 10. Local people, local news. Now, your First Alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Michael Coates.
It was a fairly gorgeous day across much of the region. We had a few thunderstorms popping in this afternoon. This is what it looked like throughout the day at Old Faithful. A lot of high-level cloud cover, and we started to build in some of those thunderclouds late in the afternoon and early evening. But we didn't really see anything turbulent or anything severe until just about right around 5 o'clock. And even then, the thunderstorms were fairly weak by the standards we've seen for the past few days. Right now, we're sitting at 60 degrees in Idaho Falls. Winds very light, so we're calming things back down. And for tomorrow, it's pretty much more of the same. We're going to start the day off very nicely here, and then we're going to work in more of those afternoon showers and thunderstorms. As I take you over to First Alert Viper radar, I'm going to lapse it for the past couple of hours for you. We still have a little bit of some lingering rain getting to Fremont County. And what's showing up here in the last few frames of the radar around Blackfoot, Pocatello, there is some cloud cover, and there is a little bit of some light rain, but this is just mostly exaggerated because the radar beam is just picking up some of that moisture in the cloud cover here as the sun is setting over Idaho. As we take a wider shot, we got two lows, one sitting with us here for tonight and tomorrow. That's what's going to be propelling more thunder showers across our region as we get into tomorrow afternoon. You look further out here in the Gulf of Alaska, this is what's going to join us for the weekend, and that's what's going to change up our weather pattern for you as we head into your Friday and Saturday. This system right here, that's going to bring in the cooler air. It's going to bring in the soaking rain showers with mostly cloudy conditions. So let me take you right over to Vipercast, 10 o'clock tonight. As we put the clock forward into motion, notice that we have a little bit of some lingering moisture tonight, but things are pretty quiet. It's not until tomorrow afternoon around 2 o'clock more thunderstorms start popping back in. Yeah, Pocatello all the way up to Rexburg could see a few more storms. Fairly dry conditions from Arco up to Chow's, but there are just slight rumors of threats of thunderstorms really in the forecast. I'm not looking for anything significant for tomorrow. Let me zoom it out and show you what's happening here. So here comes that second low. It's going to come along the west coast. It's going to start digging in here to Northern California, Nevada by Friday morning. And already by Friday morning, cloud cover and showers start coming back into the region. We're looking for rain as early as really getting into early Friday morning before sunup. So we're looking at some good showers even before we get our day started on Friday. Friday afternoon, a partly cloudy afternoon, scattered showers wrapping around this area of low pressure, so it's still going to be pushing forward into Utah as we head into Saturday. Watch what happens Saturday morning. Saturday we wake up, cloud cover all across the region, and here comes the rain right through the heart of your Saturday afternoon around 2, 3 o'clock. You might have a good excuse not to mow the lawn, but if you have to get some yard work done, you probably have to do it early Saturday before the really good showers start coming through the region. We'll have more clouds tomorrow, a few thunderstorms in the afternoon. It's going to be very windy on Friday as that low sets up. and then we're going to have a wet, soggy weekend. Take a look at the lows tonight. Fairly mild, back into the 40s. We'll hit the 60s tomorrow, near 70 for Blackfoot and Idaho Falls, just shy of 70 also for Pocatello. Hitting the lower 60s for Mackay. Highs tomorrow in Salmon around 71. 60 for Stanley. Rexburg, you're at 67. 61 in Island Park. Mid-60s for Jackson Hole, and into the upper 60s for Malad and Preston. Let's get to the 8-day. Now, here comes that cooler air I've been talking about. The second area of low pressure gets us into Friday and Saturday. Winds crank up, temperatures drop. We'll recover our temperatures into Sunday, back into the lower to mid-60s here and in through next week. But even through next week, more scattered thunderstorms all the way through the rest of the 8-day forecast, with overnight lows around 40 degrees. Take a look at Pocatello, also looking to see the drop in the numbers. Highs here, upper 50s, lower 60s for Friday and Saturday. Awfully windy conditions to round out your end of the week into the weekend period here, with scattered showers throughout your Saturday. Rexburg, highs for the weekend, mid-50s on Saturday. Cold, wet, and windy. And we'll see the off and on showers for the rest of the 8-day forecast. Mostly cloudy conditions on Sunday, with temperatures back into the 60s. Blackfoot, highs here around 62 for Friday, upper 50s on Saturday. Off and on showers throughout next week, with overnight lows into the 40s, staying awfully windy in the wind department. Salmon, you got highs here around 64 for Friday, 60 on Saturday. Salmon, you're looking at rain showers off and on throughout next week as well, but just about a 20 to 30% chance towards the end of the 8-day, so not a heavy risk there, but just enough to bring in some of those dark clouds. Jackson, early in the morning on Sunday, you may wake up with a little bit of snow on the ground. Not much, but just a little bit. Really? And you're definitely looking at some good soaking rain showers through Grand Teton, Yellowstone, and also around Island Park and West Yellowstone. So if you're going to the high country this weekend, be prepared for some good heavy rain showers at times. But
fair warning.
Fair warning, rain slickers, umbrellas. And, you know, if you got the folks in town, you want to take them up to the Yellowstone, they got to be prepared for that, because it's going to be cold, windy, and wet.
I think I'd take them to a restaurant
yes,
instead.
maybe take them another weekend there.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Coming up tonight on Newsline, we're going to ask Schools District 93 Superintendent Chuck Shackett some questions. The questions raised by folks that are planning to vote no in the bond election next week. So it's tonight's Closer Look. Please join us.
Still to come on this newscast, jurors are debating the death penalty right now for the Boston bomber. We'll bring you the latest.
And an update on that deadly Amtrak train derailment in Pittsburgh. 7 dead and some still missing. We'll be right back.
Get First Alert weather anytime, on demand. Log on to localnews8.com.
New details tonight about the engineer at the controls during that deadly Amtrak crash in Philadelphia. At least 7 people have been killed. ABC's Karen Travers in Philadelphia with more.
Speed appears to be a factor in Tuesday's deadly Amtrak accident.
When the engineer-induced brake application was applied, the train was traveling at approximately 106 miles per hour.
The engineer was identified as 32-year-old Brandon Bastian of Queens, New York. His lawyer told ABC News Bastian suffered injuries, 14 staples in his head and stitches in his leg. He says Bastian spoke to police while he was in the hospital receiving treatment and submitted a blood sample for testing. The rail lines north of Philadelphia's 30th Street station are straight, but approaching the Frankford neighborhood, a left corner, the speed is cut to 50 miles per hour. When Amtrak train 188 got to that spot, it was traveling more than twice that speed. Bastian applied the emergency brake, but it was too late.
In the next 3 or 4 seconds, the speed of the train had only decreased to 102.
The train jumps the tracks and leaves them twisted and deformed from the force. The 1-year-old high-tech electric engine came to rest upright in the dirt, but behind it, the first passenger car twisted and mangled. The next 3 cars on their side, the last 3 still standing.
This work is not anywhere close to being over.
4 out of the 7 fatalities have been identified, but officials would not offer information on the others. Rescue crews have expanded their search area and are now using dogs in case any victims may have been thrown from the wreckage. Karen Travers, ABC News, Philadelphia.
The fate of the convicted Boston bomber is in the hands of the jury, the same group of people that convicted Johar Tsarnaev on all counts. Deliberations started late this afternoon following closing arguments from prosecutors and lawyers. ABC's Elizabeth Herr is in Boston tonight.
Whether the convicted Boston bomber Johar Tsarnaev lives or dies is now up to a jury. Prosecutors making their case for death, explaining Tsarnaev planted his bomb just feet from children, and as victims lay bleeding, the 21-year-old bought a half a gallon of milk without any tears shed. Then using this video showing Tsarnaev making an obscene gesture in a holding cell. Prosecutors telling jurors you cannot see a trace of remorse on his face. But the defense argued Tsarnaev is remorseful and has a potential for redemption, describing him as a gentle little boy, a friendly teenager radicalized by his older brother Tamerlan. It was back in 2013 the blast at the Boston Marathon's finish line killed 3 people and injured more than 260. In closing, Tsarnaev's attorney asking the jury to choose life, saying there's no punishment, not even a death sentence, that would balance the scales. The jury will resume deliberating first thing tomorrow morning. Now, their decision must be unanimous because even if just one juror votes against death, Tsarnaev will be sentenced to life in prison. Elizabeth Hur, ABC News, Boston.
Sports fans love dramatic finishes. Next on Sportsline, Jeff Landers shares why the Sugar Salem track and field team doesn't want the drama at this week's state meet.
Local people, local news. You're watching Local News 8 at 10. And now, Sportsline with Jeff Landers.
The state baseball tournament begins Thursday in the Treasure Valley. Our Chris Rankel is there for the coverage, and he caught up with the coach of a district champion now trying to take the state trophy.
So we're here in Boise with 1 day away from the state 4A tournament. I'm here with Blackfoot head coach Liam Pope. Coach, thanks so much. We're here. It's hard to believe that we're at this part of the season, but it's got to be exciting now the games really count.
It is exciting, and that's what we said to the kids. You know, the hard work's done. Now we're at the fun, we're at the exciting part, and we said that after practice tonight. Just go have fun, enjoy it. The hard stuff's done. Go and enjoy the fruit of your labor, so to speak.
You're a first-year head varsity coach, at least. Little nerves going into your first state tournament?
A little bit, yeah. Falling asleep will probably be difficult tonight, but we'll be all right.
You got the first game tomorrow. Tell me a little bit about what you're expecting your guys to come out and do.
You know what, we're looking at first just to come out and play well. Do what we've done all season. Keep it rolling. Make the plays. If we ask them to lay a bunt down, lay a bunt, get the hits going, and just play good defense too. Just play good baseball. That's simple.
You know, when you get a team on this stage, you do get a little bit of nerves from guys, and they start maybe torque up a little bit, don't play as loose. What have you done to try and keep your team loose into this tournament?
Routine. Even the practice we did tonight, we got over here and we practiced, but it was the same practice that we've done before every game. It was just our regular day before a game practice, and just keeping the guys in a routine as much as possible.
What's going to be the keys to victory and the keys to you guys making a deep run in the state tournament?
You know, you need your pitchers to pitch well. You got to play strong defense. I know it's cliched. You got to get the hits when you need to, but it's cliched for a reason. Those are the things we've got to do.
Well, best of luck, Coach, in the tournament. We'll be watching very closely. That's head coach Liam Pope of the Blackfoot Broncos, hoping to bring home a 4A state title.
The Sugar Salem track and field team has put together a dynasty in the past few years, with the girls winning 3 straight and the boys winning back-to-back state titles. But last year, the boys team won the championship with the victory in the very last event, the 4x400 relay. Here in 2015, the boys teams return almost every athlete that helped the Diggers win last year. With so much experience, the Diggers are hoping this year isn't so close.
They've talked about that a couple of times this year, that they don't want to let it come down to a 4x4 finish this year. Our boys have said, hey, we want to have a good enough lead that the 4x4 is just icing on the cake. But you know, you never can, you generally almost always count on it coming down to those last events. It'll be pretty dramatic again this year, I imagine, in both the girls and the boys.
Hill tells Sportsline they needed to be ready for the titles to be decided by the slimmest of margins last year and this year. He also noted that the girls team this year primed for another title if they can get plenty of points out of their field athletes. The 2-day state meet begins Friday.
That'll be so fun. Is the weather going to be halfway decent there?
I'm not the meteorologist.
I know.
Mike's sitting over there.
You're asking the wrong
You
guy.
didn't ask. I'd be so nailing him on that by now. So okay, we'll check
Well,
with him.
yeah, Treasure Valley. We have different weather.
Yeah, it
most
might
of
be
the
a little
time.
nicer there. So
But we
okay.
wish all our teams well.
Yeah, you know, we want to see everybody do well.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Back with a look at your forecast after this.
Local people, local news. You're watching Local News 8 at 10.
That's like, well, let's look at the weather. How about the Treasure Valley?
We're asking for the nice sports guy.
They're going to be fighting thunderstorms too.
See, that's how spring sports always are in Idaho.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I was going to ask, because I ran track.
Might
in
have some rain
a
delays.
blizzard.
It's going to be from Boise to Twin to Idaho Falls
Right.
to Jackson Hole, the whole stretch, and even in Salt Lake, northern Nevada, Butte, Montana. If you're going the whole region.
We used to keep warm putting icy hot on our legs.
That-
That's how we
that would
kept
do the
warm.
trick.
So there you
Tip
go.
from Carol Honus.
And I don't mind giving that to you. I lost a lot, though.
But it's not unusual to have spring showers around here.
No, but we've been getting some good rain and some much needed moisture, so hopefully this will help stretch out our water year just a little bit more. Upper 60s right now for the highs for tomorrow in the forecast. I'm looking at a bit of some wind in the forecast, but the temperatures really take their hit, and the really good soaking rain showers get in here Friday and Saturday. So right through the heart of your weekend, Saturday afternoon especially. So you might be able to
be
get
popular.
Yeah, I'm not going to be popular, especially with my daughter's youth soccer team. No.
Yeah, but so when does it kind of get to be more the dry season? About mid-June or beginning of June?
Yeah, we're in this good spring season here, and this is some good moisture. And as we get closer into July, yeah, it gets drier.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this newscast. But don't go away. A very special news line coming up with Superintendent Chuck Shackett talking about the bond.